Where are we on this? I was kind of wondering why. Oh, we'll get it right.
Before we proceed, I'd briefly like to turn the meeting over. Are we still talking? No, we can hear. To two outstanding students who will receive the President's Award tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the dais Zachary and Tyler Hernandez from Pebble Hills Elementary School.
Thank you, Ms. Woodruff, and good evening, everyone. My name is Tyler Hernandez. Next to me is my younger brother, Zach. We are students at Pebble Hills Elementary School. It is an honor and a pleasure to call this meeting to order. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. You're a natural. You did very well, too. Great work.
Great job. That was good work.
Good evening and welcome to the Ysleta Independent School District's meeting of the Board of Trustees. Whether you are here to address the board or to celebrate the accomplishments of those being honored here this evening, we appreciate that you have taken the time to join us. We invite you to share your comments with the board during the public comment portion of our meeting. The public comment sign-up cards show the rules for participating. Legally, the board may listen but may not enter into a discussion on the issue raised. We remind everyone that this is a board meeting, often attended by students, and that we will all conduct ourselves in a manner that best represents the values and traditions of the Ysleta Independent School District. Please turn off or silence all cell phones, tablets, and other electronic devices, and thank you for your attendance. This meeting of the Board of Trustees is called to order at 6:04 p.m. We have a quorum with Richard Cuder, Sotero Ramirez, Cruz Ochoa, Catherine Luceto, Mike Rosales, and myself, Connie Woodruff. Carlos Bustillos is unable to attend. His daughter is being inducted into the Junior Honor Society at Riverside High School. Congratulations to them. It has been a tradition to honor our nation at each of our board meetings by presenting the colors, reciting the pledges of allegiance, and then posting the colors. The colors tonight are being presented by the Junior ROTC Color Guard from Bel Air High School. Go Big Red. The Color Guard commander is Cadet Yaritzi Villarreal. The other Color Guard members are Raquel Hernandez, Melissa Moore, Jackie Rodriguez. The pledge leader is Matthew Lopez, a 7th grader from Bel Air Middle School. Will you please stand for the presentation of the colors, the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance, the Texas Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence. Please remain standing until the cadets have departed.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now please join me in the pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Dr. Delatorre, do you have recognitions this evening?
Madam President, members of the board, tonight is a night of celebration and recognition. Mrs. Ayala, our Chief Communications Officer, will lead in the introductions and recognitions.
Superintendent De La Torre, we have 6 recognitions for you this evening. At this time, we ask that the Board of Trustees and the Superintendent please come to the front of the dais for the presentations. We also ask the audience members to please remain seated until our recognitions are complete. Branding. Our first recognition is in honor of Zachariah and Tyler Hernandez, students and brothers at Pebble Hills Elementary School, who serve as leaders and role models in both kindness and academics. Zach, who is in 2nd grade, has been a huge supporter of the school's new Caught Being Kind program, which is part of the district's Random Acts of Kindness campaign. Every day, Zach makes a point to nominate as many as 3 or 4 students for Caught Being Kind. This entails filling out a form with the student's name, a description of their act of kindness, and their teacher's name. The fact that Zach seeks to highlight the kindness, compassion, and thoughtfulness of others every day is evidence of his generous nature. Zach's older brother, Tyler, is a 5th grader who is known among his peers for being respectful and well-behaved. Tyler is also at the top of his class academically and will be deeply missed when he moves next year to middle school. Together, the Hernandez brothers are a treasured part of the Pebble Hills campus, and they serve as an exceptional role models in all areas: academics, service, citizenship, and leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome this month's President's Award recipients and Pebble Hills Elementary School students, Zachariah and Tyler Hernandez. Accompanying Zach and Tyler is Principal Stacy Vasquez. next recognition is in honor of the Ysleta High School High Q team, which defeated Coronado High School this month to become the city's High Q Grand Champion. The team now advances to the national competition, where they will again be quizzed on topics that cover the entire spectrum of the high school curriculum, as well as current events, sports, and popular culture. We congratulate them on their victory and wish them the best of luck at nationals next month. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Ysleta High School's High Q Grand Championship team, beginning with Pedro Amaya. Nathan Da Silva. Alphonse Ingo. Zena Tame. And Aiden Grizzard. Accompanying the students are coaches Mr. Paul Kane, Miss Nancy Kane, and Miss Ruth Hansen, and Principal Miss Sylvia Rendon. Keep smiling. Let's hear it one more time for our High Q Grand Champions. Our next recognition is in honor of the National Science Bowl team from Valle Verde Early College High School, who soundly defeated Northwest Early College High School by a score of 42-0 to capture the regional championship. This is the 6th time in 7 years that the Valle Verde team has won regionals. They now advance to nationals in Washington, D.C. later this month. We congratulate them on their impressive victory and wish them the best at nationals. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Valle Verde's National Science Bowl regional champions, beginning with Angelica Amaya. Samuel Jurado. Daniel Lara. And Juan Vasquez. Accompanying the students is sponsor Mr. James Brown and Principal Paul Covey. Keep smiling. Let's hear it one more time for our National Science winners. Our 4th recognition is in honor of Valle Verde Early College High School student Benjamin Ontiveros. Benjamin is the only student from West Texas to reach the finals this year at the Texas Forensic Association's speech tournament. He performed a humorous interpretation piece called The Most Famous Story Ever Told and came home with second place. Kudos to Benjamin on a job well done. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Valle Verde Early College High School senior Benjamin Ontiveros. Benjamin is accompanied by his sponsor, Mr. Kenneth Porter, and Principal Paul Covey. Let's hear it one more time for Benjamin. Our next recognition is in honor of several wrestlers from Bel Air, Eastwood, and Hanks High Schools, whose grit and hard work helped them win individual gold or silver medals at this year's state UIL Wrestling Championships. These athletes have represented the district with pride and fierce determination, and we salute their successes tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me congratulate our individual gold and silver medalists in wrestling. From Bel Air High School, let's hear it for Christian Hernandez. Accompanying Christian is his coach, Mr. Rogelio Martinez, and Principal Charlie Garcia. From Eastwood High School, let's have a round of applause for Isaiah Delgado. Let's also hear it for Danielle Salvidar. The students are accompanied by their coaches, Mr. Adrian Rodriguez, Mr. Troy Douglas, and Principal David Boatwright. And from Hanks High School, let's hear it for Angelina Baltazar. Isabela Gonzalez. And Victoria Nunez. The young ladies are accompanied by assistant coaches, Mr. Ralph Cedillo and Mr. Jason Blair, head coach, Mr. Anthony Carter, and principal, Gloria Spencer. May we form two rows, please?
Awesome. Here we go, guys. Get right over here.
Keep smiling, lots of paparazzi. Let's hear it again for all the wrestlers. Last but not least in wrestling, we have the Hanks High School girls wrestling team, which for an unprecedented 5th time captured the gold and brought home the 5A state championship. The Lady Knights completely dominated their statewide competitors. Every wrestler won at least one match, with their final score coming in at 155.5 points, nearly twice as many points as the second place team, and far surpassing their championship score from 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the 2018 5A Texas State Girls Wrestling Champions, the incomparable Lady Knights. The team is comprised of sophomore Abigail Anaya, sophomore Angelina Baltazar, sophomore Annette Enciso, sophomore Victoria Hinojo, sophomore Sarah Martinez, sophomore Victoria Nunez, junior Isabela Gonzalez, senior Hannah Fierro, and senior Jaden Sayer Adona. The Lady Knights are accompanied by assistant coaches Mr. Ralph Cedillo and Mr. Jason Blair, head coach Mr. Anthony Carter, and principal Gloria Spencer. At this time, the Lady Knights would like to present gold medals to each trustee and Superintendent de la Torre to commemorate their 5th state championship.
Please.
Let's hear it again for our Lady Knights. Our final recognition tonight is in honor of Eastwood High School senior Michaela Orantia Kotaski, who was among only 15,000 students in the country to be named a National Merit Scholar finalist after earning one of the highest scores on the PSAT. As a result, Michaela is now officially, breaking news, a National Merit Scholar. After qualifying for more than $32 million in college and corporate funded scholarships. Michaela will be attending the University of North Texas in Denton, thanks to a full scholarship offered to her as the National Merit Scholar. She will be studying music. Congratulations to Michaela on this prestigious academic achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Ysleta Independent School District's National Merit Scholar, Michaela Orantia Kotaski. Michaela is accompanied by Principal David Boatwright. Thank you. This concludes our recognitions for this evening.
$32 million, one kid. Yeah.
So the way they do it is graduations and they count up the money out of school. They'll count all 32 million.
I know, they're going to wipe everybody out.
One person.
I was having a talk with someone.
That's going to,
If you look at how they count scholarships, it's just, it's so bloated.
yeah,
But
but,
it's not even, like, she earned 32 million. She got accepted.
no, right.
Other ones, we'll talk about it another time. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. They should be washing their hands.
Oh, my gosh.
Sorry. This is for your medal when it's over. All week.
Yeah. Secretary Rosales, do we have requests for citizens' input?
Yes, Chairperson. We have a Mr. Michael Puga that would like to address the board. Would you step forward, sir? As he's walking up here, we just want to remind ourselves that there's a time limit of 3 minutes, and really that's about it. And we will hear your points, and but you do have a time limit of 3 minutes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Superintendent De La Torre, members of the board. I'm here on behalf of the parents and students of Alicia Chacon. Alicia Chacon, being an international school, offers the students a variety of different languages that they could learn. However, the one language I feel that is lacking there is the language teamwork through sports. ARC does not have a sports curriculum there for them. So the students who wish to participate in such sports would have to walk to another middle school and also be bused to other areas. I feel it's very important that we take this into consideration because academics and athletics, as we saw today, is very important for YISD. YISD being the district, I think, can pioneer something here at ARC. For example, the facility can accommodate really other sports there that are internationally sanctioned, for example, volleyball, basketball. But I think it'd be really neat if they were able to have something else added to that for the students to participate in. Walking into the building, I noticed that there are several banners and stickers on the floor that say things about innovation and safety. With innovation, the district that we are called, right, could pioneer something. These are magnet schools, so maybe entertain the idea of making it a magnet school with a sport. For example, archery, fencing, any of these sports can be easily accommodated here for these children to have this type of enrichment, which is one of the stickers I saw for innovation, that the district is always looking for ways to continually enrich the students' lives. Another sticker I saw out there was for safety. Like I mentioned earlier, these students have to walk from ARC to Ysleta Middle. And it's not so much that they have to walk, but they have to lug their stuff. Some of these students are in orchestra or band and have to carry these items with them to practice. There are a lot of students there that are interested in participating in sports. However, with the challenges that they face, a lot of them might shy away from it. And we're doing a disservice to these individuals that want to participate in these sports. My closing sentence here is that a lot of them are saying, one day, maybe one day we'll get something like this here. But the sticker that I saw out there is accountability. So I would like to hold the board and Superintendent De La Torre accountable to changing that one day to day one. This is when we start looking into possibly doing this for the students at this school at Alicia Chacon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, sir.
The order of business shall be set out in this posted agenda unless changed by consensus of the board. During the board workshop, no items were pulled for separate consideration. Are there any items you would like to pull off the consent agenda for separate vote? Thank you. The agenda will be considered the consensus of the board. At this time, I would like to begin a discussion that for the board on talking about the kind of conferences that we are looking into going to. We have several choices that we can make and several things that might fit the needs of our board in two new options, and those two new options are NALEO and the other one is CRSS. And I was actually going to ask Mr. Rosales if he might go ahead and share some things about NALEO that he feels would be important for the board to know so that we can start deciding whether we would like to include that in our conference schedules. Mr. Rosales?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me, NALEO is the nation's leading membership organization that prompts advancement and policymaking success of elected officials. Do you hear me? Okay, I'm sorry. It is a leading organization of the state, of the nation, and my point here, where we sit in this great state of Texas, in the next 10 years, our numbers of Latinos are going to increase immensely. 2 weeks ago, I had the honor and privilege of hearing Henry Cisneros in San Antonio. And the message that he presented is not a very rosy picture in as much as the need of educating our youth now. We cannot afford to waste another 10 years and let the system kind of work its way. We've got to make things happen. We have got to take the lead, and we've got to do some of the things we may not ever have done prior. However, one of the leading organizations in this country that could help in our efforts to improve this immense challenge is NALEO. On a more statewide basis, another organization is MASBA, and I happen to also be part of that. But in terms of the overall numbers of Latinos, Texas is not the only state that's encountering. States like North Carolina, believe it or not, of course, state of California, and on and on. So we as elected officials, I feel, need to get better organized, express our desires of our agendas to make the things better for our children into the future. Thank you, Ms. Chairman.
As far as CRSS is concerned, they are responsible for teaching boards how to do their job, basically, and that is working with us on governance. And that association, it deviates a little bit from TASB, because when you go to one of the CRSS conferences, they will send you case studies of different boards and the things that they've done. And you actually examine these and make comment on these, tell them things that these boards could have done better, things that they did great. And it's put in place to help us understand our role as governance. So these are two options that we've been thinking about. I feel like NALEO is kind of a more national group, more about policy, things like that, and CRSS is a more Texas-type agency. So right now, I think if you would just kind of consider and think about these things, and then maybe talk to Monica and tell her which option you prefer, and so that we can start looking into getting training from these groups. That's a good question.
Can we ask that question again with the mic on, please?
Are we allowed to participate in both?
There's really no reason why we wouldn't be able to participate in both, except for budget constraints. That would be the only thing that I would think of that we would have to consider with that.
Mr. Chairman, one of the things that I'd like to remind us, and I believe Ms. Tarango is trying to get this thing on. Ms. Tarango is addressing, and this is something that I brought back in one of the conferences that I attended. One of the things that is very glaring in this community, and again, I say that in a very soft manner, but as people sit there out in the audience and decide that they want to be part of a school board, we're working towards a program that would allow any citizen to come forward for a length of time. I don't think we've set a time limit, but let's say it would be 7 months that you could be brought into to make you aware of all the goods and some of the things that happen behind being a board member. It's often not a matter of just showing up on Monday and then working at Wednesday and then forget about the rest of the month. If you're committed to the benefit of our children, it requires that you participate constantly, sometimes on a daily basis, on issues that arise. And I think we could do that here locally and get a lot more mileage out of the fact that we bring in our constituents to be part of a training process, to be able to sit around the board, this board or any other board in the city for that matter. Thank you. Ms. Abigail?
Yes, sir. Ms. Morales, Board of Trustees, there are several common themes that we have discussed either individually or as a team, as well as cabinet members, and the importance of bridging the gap between knowledge and bragging about the wonderful things that our school district are, and then also knowing the narrative that's out in the, albeit at the state or at the national level. We've been doing this work for decades, and our population has modeled after, or not modeled, but it's exactly what the nation is beginning to look like. And so there are several goals that Mr. Rosales has brought to my attention, and I've been working on a kind of very exciting proposal to go before the board and, of course, the superintendent. And what it does is it bridges the gap between making sure that our local businesses, entities, our people know the good work Ysleta is doing, and then also how that ties to the narrative at a state and regional level and national level, and then empowering our Board of Trustees to speak at the conferences you attend, to be advocates for the work that we're doing here. I mean, we're doing phenomenal work. So part of those conversations are really to empower people. Did I get that correct, sir? Good.
So if there's no other comment, we'll go on with our agenda, but keep that in your minds, trustees, and talk with Monica and let her know what you're thinking about this. Okay. Okay. The order of the agenda has been approved. May I have a motion and a second on the consent agenda items as recommended by administration?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda items listed on this agenda as recommended by the administration.
We have a motion and a second.
No, he has to say it on the mic.
Second, please.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes 6-0. Moving on to our action items. Number 1, naming a Del Valle High School soccer field. Is there any discussion? If not, may I have a motion?
I move to approve the proposed naming of the Del Valle High School soccer field to Bruce Reichman Field as submitted by the Del Valle CEIC.
May I have a second?
I second it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes 6-0.
At this time, if we could ask Tony and Mr. Reichman to come forward. On behalf of the board and the staff, we have this plaque that we'd like to give them.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
And we'd like to come down and form that receiving line again.
I might have.
Get back to work.
Cunningham. My mother knows.
Monica?
Okay, moving on to approval of the action item number 2. Approval of award of YISD cooperative requisition for purchase of audiovisual equipment, Bel Air Middle School. Do we have any discussion? Yes, sir. Okay, so I move to approve the award of YISD cooperative requisition of Team First Technologies LLC for the purchase of audiovisual equipment for Bel Air Middle School in the amount not to exceed $447,490 from bond funds through a purchasing cooperative contingent upon final negotiations and in-house council review. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes 6-0. Okay, moving on to number 3, approval of award of YISD cooperative requisition for lease to own of teacher laptops. Is there any discussion? Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Ramirez.
I'd like to say thank you to leadership and staff for the teacher laptops. On Monday night at workshop, when we discussed the process that you went through to survey the teachers and the administrators and get them involved in the process and recognizing and acknowledging their needs. I just think that's great. That just makes us that much better in serving our students. So thank you so much for all the hard work on not only this one, but also number 4 as well. So again, thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, may I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve award of YISD cooperative requisition with Computer Discount Warehouse Government, CDWG, for the lease to own of teacher laptops in the amount of $117,396.07 per year for a period of 4 years from various district funds through a purchasing cooperative contingent upon final negotiations and in-house council review. In accordance with this action, the Chief Financial Officer is authorized to process a budget amendment utilizing local funds and/or fund balance and to place budget accordingly.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 6-0. Okay, action item number 4, approval of award of YISD cooperative requisition for lease to own of teacher laptops. And this is Apple. Is there any discussion? If not, may I have a motion?
Madam Chairwoman, I move to approve award of YISD cooperative requisition with Apple Inc. for the lease to own of teacher laptops in the amount of $518,875.30 per year for a period of 4 years from various district funds through a purchasing cooperative contingent upon final negotiations and in-house council review. In accordance with this action, the Chief Financial Officer is authorized to process a budget amendment utilizing local funds and/or fund balance and to place budget accordingly.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 6-0. Moving on to action item number 5, approval of award of YISD cooperative requisition number 26804 for purchase of audio visual equipment, TMES, Thomas Manor. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, may I have a motion?
I'll move to approve award of YISD cooperative requisition number 26804 with Team First Technologies, LLC, for the purchase of audiovisual equipment for Thomas Manor Elementary School in the amount of $370,474.65 from bond funds through a purchasing cooperative contingent upon final negotiations and in-house council review.
May I have a second?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0. Action item number 6, approval of award of YISD solicitation number 217046 RFP-RB district-wide hosted VoIP solution rebid. Is there any discussion? Go ahead, Mr. Ochoa.
Yes, I had some questions on this on Monday, and I'd like to repeat that again today. It was explained to me there was going to be some cost savings, and there was a board communication that was sent out, and it was kind of vague. I still don't have the full details, especially when it outlines for 2017 to 2018 with a 10% yearly increase. What was that 10% based on? Is that something that we have data on, or was it just something that was subjective?
So, Mr. Ochoa, I believe that the 10% is the estimated increase for inflation. It's a little on the high side, but that's a fair estimate. It's conservative.
Okay, so it was a little high, and based on those numbers that were given to me, but the cost savings, as far as the amount of money, it wasn't that much. In fact, I think it was on the other side, that we are going to pay a little bit more down the line.
Yes, sir. So in the future, for our voice over internet protocol, instead of our landlines, it will cost us about $35,000 more per year. But keep in mind, all of these telephones that we're using now are obsolete. We can't get maintenance parts for them. We can't repair them. So we have to replace it with something. And the VoIP system is the best practice for the future.
Okay, and also on our discussion on Monday, I think Dr. De La Torre said that this was going to use some bond money. How much of that is going to be bond money?
So the initial year to put the assets in service is $1.5 million, and that's all bond related. The subscription service thereafter for the hosting will be in lieu of our regular telephone service, so we will give up our AT&T lines except for those that we spoke about that have to do with the National Fire Code. And annually hereafter, we will pay $750,000 for those services, and that will come out of the general fund.
General fund or operating fund? Or?
Operating fund, yes.
Oh, okay. So initially, we're making an investment from the bond money of how much? $1,500? I mean, $1,500, I wish. $1.5 million?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the rest will come out of the general fund?
In years 2 and 3, and if we exercise options for years 4 and 5, that $750,000 per year will be substituted for our landline phone bills, and we'll be paying VoIP instead from the general fund.
Okay. Also, I was going to ask, what does this do impact to our bandwidth, considering that we just expanded the bandwidth for a lot of our schools?
I'll have to defer to TIS for that.
Good evening. Doug Chamley, the network manager. You're correct. Recently, we upgraded the wide area links to 10 gig for high schools, 4 gig for middle schools, and 2 gig for elementaries. The implementation of the voice over IP system will include a QoS on the network, which will prioritize the voice traffic to optimize it so that to maintain the quality of the voice that people have with the traditional phone system right now.
But, okay, so how will that, are we expanding our bandwidth, or are we utilizing the bandwidth we have now? Will that be capable of carrying this added traffic through it?
Yes, our current utilization is below 50% at any of the sites, and so we don't anticipate any kind of bottleneck or contention with the bandwidth.
So I don't think this is going to go up for bid, or we already have a vendor?
We have a vendor.
This is a recommendation to award the contract to a vendor. It's already been bid.
To a vendor that wasn't identified here, right?
It is identified in the backup. It's Jive Communications.
Yeah,
where's the thing?
Right here?
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
I show it on page 113 of the backup.
It was
113.
I don't have a.
Is it 113?
As we look for that, can I ask a quick question? How long will it be how many years will it take until we're actually saving money using the system? If the first 2 or 3 years we're actually in the red, is it going to take all 5 years for us to actually save money using the system, or?
So actually, just like your phone AT&T service or your cell phone bill, you're always paying for that subscription. And so it will always be slightly more than our current AT&T phone lines. But at $35,000, that's nominal compared to not being able to repair and service the phone. So
You said page 113?
looking in the backup that I have in front of me, it shows packet page 114, highlighted in yellow under Exhibit 9.6A.
And based on this vendor, the reliability is, you've checked out the reliability of this vendor?
Yes, we currently have 2 schools running under a Jive service right now,
You made me lose it.
the Eastwood High School and Parkland Middle School. And the service has been excellent.
Okay. So, in your perspective, why is it better to go to voice over IP now and not 2 years from now?
I think right now we're doing a lot of build out new campuses. I think we have 5 or 6 new campuses coming online, and to place old equipment from our existing phone system and cable for those into those schools doesn't make financial sense right now. And so it's actually, because they're completely new construction, it's actually cheaper to put the new phone system into that new construction. And so we'd end up with a kind of a split hybrid type of system if we didn't convert the whole district right now. And eventually we'd be going in this direction anyway. And so it's better to have a methodical approach rather than just kind of go as we are kind of pushed into some certain direction.
Yeah, I agree with you. And those new schools, we should outfit them with this technology. But how would that impact the legacy equipment that we have now throughout all the schools? Will that be an added cost?
If we converted the legacy system, or
right? Do we have to put fiber optics through them, or do we have to?
No, everything's in place. Really, all we would be doing is replacing the phone sets.
Just the phone sets.
Yes. Out of the $1.5 million in the initial year, about almost 600,000 of that is for phones.
So you already have those jacks for fiber optics at
Yes.
Schools?
Yes.
Which they come with internet, and then beside it has the...
In most cases, we would be kind of daisy chaining the phone off of the existing computer drop in offices and classrooms.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have other discussion? If not, may I have a motion?
I move to approve award of YISD solicitation number 217146 RFP-RB with vendor as shown on solicitation documents for district-wide hosted voice over IP solution rebid during the period of April 19th, 2018 through June 30th, 2021 for a 3-year amount of $3 million from various district funds with the possibility of two 1-year extensions at $750,000 per year, contingent upon final negotiations and in-house council review.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? So that passes 5-1. Okay, number 7, solicitation number 217032 RFQ and number 217302 RFQ RB, professional services for projects of limited scope. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a question. I understand that it's several projects possibly around the district, but I would like to know if one of those projects might include a plan or a design maybe for basically a plan as to what we're going to do with the fund balance projects. Will one of these consultants be working on that?
Ms. Woodruff, Dr. Delatorre, members of the board, yes, ma'am. And one that comes to mind right away is the CTE program at Riverside High School. We'd like to go ahead and continue the discussion that I know some of the board members have been very interested in upgrading and remodeling that area. So we've been in negotiations with an architect, and we will need the additional funding. Then with as much construction that's been going on, we want to make sure that we don't have any slowdown in any of the projects, any delays.
Okay, and so for this particular, for these particular funds, it won't include anything that has to do with projects we want to do with the fund balance?
No,
Okay, that's my question.
not at this time. Okay.
Got it.
Is there any further discussion? If not, may I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve an increase of $300,000 in the total awards under YISD solicitation number 217032 RFQ, number 217032 RFQ RB, professional services for projects of limited scope, changing the not-to-exceed annual amount to $800,000 from various district funds.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 6-0. Okay, moving on to action item number 8, approval of award of YSD solicitation number bond -18 CSP BP16 Ysleta High School Fine Arts additions and renovations. Is there any discussion?
I'd just like to say that I am absolutely thrilled that we are here at this point for the Ysleta learning community. We've been waiting, and now it's here, and I'm very excited. And Mr. O'Neill, I'd like you to set up a portable so we can sit out there and watch it happen. So, thank you.
Is there any other discussion? If not, may I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to approve of YSD solicitation number bond 18 CSP BP16 with Baines General Contractors, Inc., as shown on solicitation documents for Ysleta High School Fine Arts addition and renovations for a not-to-exceed amount of $10,358,350 from bond funds, contingent upon final negotiations and in-house counsel review.
May I have a second?
I so move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes 6-0. Okay, moving on to action item number 9, approval of award of YSD solicitation number bond 20 CSP BP07A Desert Air Elementary School re-roofing and HVAC improvements. Is there any discussion? If not, may I have a motion?
I move to approve award of YISD solicitation number bond 20 CSP BP07A with AO General Contractor, Inc., as shown on solicitation documents for Desert Air Elementary School re-roofing and HVAC improvements for a not-to-exceed amount of $2,492,000 from various district and bond funds contingent upon final negotiations and in-house counsel review. In accordance with this action, the Chief Financial Officer is authorized to process a budget amendment utilizing local funds and/or fund balance and to place budget accordingly.
May I have a second?
A second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thought I was
That
going to get a second there.
That passes 6-0. Moving on to action item number 10, Approval of award of YISD solicitation bond 21 CSP BP 18 Parkland High School renovations. Is there any discussion?
Just real quick, Madam Chairwoman, pretty much, I'm glad that we're making improvements to Parkland's HVAC system. I know we still have a long way to go, and I appreciate Mr. Rosales' comments on Monday and about continuing equity, because I know that our district is committed to equity across all schools, and we will eventually get there. I just hope it becomes sooner rather than later, and I do think that this is a right step in towards correcting something that's been a discrepancy in our district, and I'm thankful to our board members for committing to making sure that all of our high schools and all of our elementaries and middle schools have the best possible facilities.
Is there, well, we haven't made the motion yet. Hang on just a second.
Okay, I move to approve award of YISD solicitation number bond 21 CSP BP 18 with Aztec Contractors, Inc., as shown on solicitation documents for Parkland High School renovations for a not-to-exceed amount of $5,270,000 from various bond funds contingent upon final negotiations and in-house counsel review.
May I have a second?
I second it.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes 6-0. Action item number 11, approval of award of phase number 1 solicitation bond 22 RFQ BP 17 Bel Air High School gymnasium additions and renovations. Is there any discussion? I have discussion. I can't tell you how excited and how much the Bel Air learning community is looking forward to this happening. It's a great step forward for our community and for our district. I just can't wait. I think it's going to be so fabulous. And with that, I would like to make the motion. I move to approve award of phase number 1 of awarded YISD solicitation bond 22 RFQ BP 17 Bel Air High School Gymnasium additions and renovations Carol Deibler Bel Air Gym for $1,267,679 from bond funds toward the guaranteed maximum price, with the remaining packages totaling the guaranteed maximum price and estimated cost of construction presented at subsequent board meetings. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? And that passes 6-0. Action item number 12, approval of award of YISD solicitation bond 25 CSP BP 21 Eastwood Knolls Ysleta Middle and Tierra del Sol fire sprinkler system updates. Is there any discussion? If not, may I have a motion?
I move to approve award YISD solicitation bond 25 CSP.
Ms. Rosales, can you repeat that into the mic,
May I
please?
repeat this? I move to approve award of YISD solicitation bond 25 CSP BP 21 with 5-Star Automatic Fire Protection LLC as shown on solicitation documents for Eastwood Knolls, Ysleta Middle, Tierra del Sol sprinkler system upgrades for not to exceed amount of $1,699,679 from various district funds contingent upon final negotiations and in-house counsel review. In accordance with this action, the Chief Financial Officer is authorized to process a budget amendment utilizing local funds and for bond balance and to place budget as necessary. May I reiterate, it's $1,699,679. Thank you.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes 6-0. If there's no further discussion, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
So much better than me yesterday, Monday.
Madam President, on the agenda, you have tentative items for me. May I ask if we could also include the presentation for the fund balance projects, if possible, as tentative?
I don't think you can do that in this meeting, but No, it's because it's not on the agenda. All right. Thank you.
We're adjourned, right?
Yes.